caught in the crossfire. It's caught in the...
What's up, guys? Lance the Obscure Movie Guy coming to you once again, bringing you another fun-filled, fact-filled video that you don't care about, trying to change the world one post at a time. And boy, howdy do we need it. Crazy times out there, crazy times. So I thought we would take a look at some crazy movies. But not just crazy, childish. Yes, indeed. But not children's movies, no sir. What we're going to look at today are 3 movies that feature puppets. In fact, the movies surround themselves with puppets, but not in a children-esque way. These are adult films made with puppets, and very, very interesting and a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. 2 of them I really, really enjoyed. The one, we'll get to that one last. It was tough. It was interesting. It was tough. But yeah, we're going to talk about puppet-related movies today, and really interesting movies, really interesting people that created these movies, created them, wrote them, directed them. You're going to be surprised by some of these people in the end. But the first one I want to talk about was its life started. So it was created by a guy named Christopher Ford, okay? And it started life in 2011 as a film. And it got shelved. And then in 2014, it was split up into a 5-episode miniseries for Yahoo Watch or something like that. It was exclusive on Yahoo on the internet. It wasn't available on an actual streaming platform. Years since then, they have now compiled it back to a movie, and you are able to watch it in its full-length feature on Tubi and Vudu and stuff like that. So it's had an interesting shelf life. Started in 2011, it got chopped up, brought out in 2014. Now it's back to being in one piece. So, but nonetheless, created by Christopher Ford, and it's simply called The Fuzz. When a string of violent drug-related crimes rocked the seedy Puppet Town neighborhood, Herbie, a puppet cop who is tired of being treated like a joke by the human officers on the police force, must work together with his hapless human partner Sanchez to track down the dangerous puppet drug kingpin Rainbow Brown, who will stop at nothing to become the most powerful criminal in the city. Herbie is a goody two-shoes puppet who won't even swear, his favorite interjection being scrambled eggs. Sanchez is a down-on-his-luck ex-beat cop with an alcohol problem, and after a drug deal goes wrong and resulting in the death of an innocent puppet janitor, Herbie is thrust onto the new Puppet Crime Task Force along with Sanchez. He is super proud of this and aims to stop crime, but his chief views it as nothing but a PR stunt and tells them both to keep their noses clean and stay out of trouble. Guys, super fun movie. Super fun, super silly, super stupid. Not meant to be a good movie in any way. And in fact, some of the puppets weren't even that great as far as them being detailed or put together very well. So I had a lot of fun with this one. And Christopher Ford is the one that created the Fuzz. Now, if you're not familiar with who he is, well, he went on to write the screenplay for a little film called Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know if you guys have heard about it or seen that. So, he's kind of a big deal. But super fun. I really like this. I like the camaraderie between the puppet and Sanchez. And the guy that played Sanchez hasn't done a whole lot, but he was pretty funny, and I would like to see him in more things. He's got really good comedic aspects. And again, this is just one of those dumb movies to sit back, relax, not think about anything for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just enjoy it. Just enjoy it for what it is. It's puppets taking on a jelly bean drug ring ran by none other than drug kingpin Rainbow Brown. I'm going to make that my new screen name for PlayStation. Why not? So, guys, it was a really good time. The next one we're going to talk about, now this one had a little bit bigger of a budget, had more mainstream actors in it. Heavy promotion went into this next one, but it didn't do too well at the box office and was kind of panned critically. It's called Happytime Murders. The Happytime Murders is a 2018 American crime comedy film directed by Brian Henson and written by Todd Berger from a story by Berger and D. Austin Robertson. The film stars Melissa McCarthy, Bill Beretta, Joel McHale, Maya Rudolph, and Elizabeth Banks. In sunny Los Angeles, where puppets are second-class citizens to humans, Phil Phillips, once LAPD's first puppet police officer, is now a weary private investigator and finds himself dragged into a world of mystery and murder as an unknown sadistic killer is targeting the members of a popular 1980s puppet sitcom. To have a chance at solving this baffling case, Phil must bury the hatchet and team up with his former human partner, Detective Connie Edwards. Nevertheless, more innocent actors will meet their demise. Can this mismatched duo find the answer before it is too late? So again, another movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was hilarious. Some of the aspects of the movie are completely ridiculous, like silly string for puppet ejaculation and a very crude satirical sex scene in the film. If you haven't seen it, it's hilarious, and obviously a lot of big name actors. Again, it was critically panned, a lot of negative reviews. Melissa McCarthy actually won a Razzie that year for Worst Actress. It also won a Razzie for Worst Picture. But I say no, y'all are just wrong. I'm sure there was much worse movies that came out that year. You can pretty much look at anything The Asylum did and guarantee that it probably won. But nonetheless, I had a lot of fun with this movie, and it's a really good time. It's come on, man, a puppet stomping on a guy's nuts. That shit's funny. I don't care who you are. But it's interesting. You can see there's a lot of parallels between the Fuzz and Happytime Murders, in both regards. Puppets having to team up with humans, police officers, detectives to take on some, epic, in the Fuzz it was a drug kingpin, and this one it's a, sadistic, psychotic puppet murderer. So the parallels are there. You can see how one, maybe Happytime took some stuff from the Fuzz, I don't know. And once again, another big name, Brian Henson, doing the puppetry, and Henson probably sounds familiar because, well, Brian Henson's the son of Jim Henson, but unlike the Muppets, who centralize around a naive folly of innocence, Happytime Murders was much more dark, gritty, satirical, and negative, so polar opposite of what the Muppets were. But nonetheless, the Henson family lives on doing Happytime Murders. And, Brian still does a lot of stuff with the Sesame Street and Muppet movies and stuff like that. So, but this was a complete coin flip from what he usually does. So, the last one I want to talk about, this one was kind of hard for me. I don't know if it was hard just because of the storyline or just the crude nature of the movie or just the way some of the puppets were. Some of them were puppets. Some of them were kind of like, again, kind of like Sesame Street, like Big Bird or stuff like this. There was people in suits that looked like a big giant puppet. So I don't know what it was with this one that was hard for me to watch. I think it was a combination of all things. Just really gritty, dark, kind of gross, crude humor, but not done in a good way. It did have its moments. But let's take a look at it. 1989. Meet the Feebles. Meet the Feebles is a 1989 puppet musical black comedy film directed by Peter Jackson, written by Jackson along with Fran Walsh, Stephen Sinclair, and Danny Mulheron. The feeble variety hour or theater trope is hoping to find success after being picked up as a syndicated television show. Heidi, a hippopotamus, is the star of the show, is insulted by a pornographic director, Trevor the Rat, and complains to her boss and lover, Bletch, who is a walrus, and is actually in an adulterous relationship with Samantha the cat. Meanwhile, Robert a Hedgehog is the newest member of the team and arrives at the theater and immediately falls in love with another newcomer, Lucille, a Pomeranian. Samantha confronts Heidi, insults her, and reveals her relationship with Bletch. Robert confesses his love to Lucille, and the two become engaged. Sid, an elephant, receives a visit from his ex-girlfriend Sandy, a chicken, and his alleged son Seymour, who is a improbable-looking elephant-chicken hybrid puppet. Sandy informs him that she will be preparing a paternity test against him very soon. And in a bathroom, the second most important star of the show, Harry the Rabbit, is suffering from a mystery disease and given only 12 hours to live. And a fly reporter harasses Harry, ultimately reporting his illness to the tabloids. Meanwhile, a drug-addicted, knife-throwing Wynyard the Frog tells Robert his story of Vietnam and convinces Robert to give him $50 to buy drugs from Trevor. And after seeing Trevor's latest porno film, Bletch decides that they need a new porn star, and Trevor chooses Lucille, the Pomeranian. He drugs her and tries to rape her as an audition, but is caught by Robert. When he walks in on the scene, Robert thinks that Lucille was drinking and was throwing herself at Trevor, and tells her that he never wants to see her again. So yeah, that's Meet the Feebles. And there you go, Peter Jackson. Long before he went on to become famous for Lord of the Rings, he directed that. So it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see when you take a look at Christopher Ford and you take a look at Peter Jackson and, early parts in their career. You had Ford created the Fuzz and went on to do the screenplay for Spider-Man Homecoming. Huge movie, Sony, Marvel. Peter Jackson, obviously out of New Zealand, hadn't done a whole lot. He did Bad Taste, which also wasn't, it wasn't a puppet movie, but it wasn't exactly a great movie. And then he goes on to do this epic, Lord of the Rings, trilogy that, again, for me, like Harry Potter, I don't get it. I thought they were boring as shit, but another video for another day. But regardless, Spider-Man, Lord of the Rings, both, obviously great, huge box office successes. So it goes to show that, it's funny where you can track somebody's career like that, where they started off doing something weird and obscure, and they go on to do these epic films that, millions of people love. Not this guy. I liked Spider-Man Homecoming, not Lord of the Rings. Trash. Then you've got Jim Henson, or Brian Henson, I should say, who, Jim Henson's son, who is basically a puppet royalty. Jim Henson's puppets and Muppets and Sesame Street. That is the which all other puppets are always going to be judged by. So it's kind of cool that Brian went on to go and do Happytime Murders, still sticking with what he knows, but kind of arching it off into a different area. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's a complete coin flip from what the Muppets usually stand for. And so it was good. All these movies, really interesting to watch. Meet the Feebles was tough for me, and like I said, I don't know if it's just the way they looked, just the crude nature of the movie itself, or if I just didn't get some of the humor. It's New Zealand. It did have its moments, though. It did have its moments. The Vietnam moment in the film was actually pretty funny. Something hilarious about puppets getting shot to me. I don't know why, but it's funny. But yeah, so there you have it. 3 puppet adult-themed films that you should watch. If you're just looking for something stupid and ridiculous to kick back, relax, and take your mind off of all this other nonsense that's going on in the world right now, these are 3 good ones to choose. The Fuzz, Happytime, Meet the Feebles, and yeah. So like, subscribe, comment to the YouTube channel, like, share the video. Tell me, guys, what's your favorite puppet movie or show? Me personally, I was always a fan of Fraggle Rock. That was my favorite. And as a fun side note, Fraggle Rock, the old man in Fraggle Rock, he's Fuck-Ass from Boondock Saints. There you go. Another fun one. Early in his career, he's, old man doing his thing. Later in his career, he's Fuck-Ass. Guys, I'll see you in the next one.
It's even better than I thought. 30 kilometers to a liter. Imagine that, Sprocket. An 11-year-old station wagon that gets 30 kilometers to a liter. That's 71 miles to the gallon.
I've got some very bad news, I'm gonna have to close down the bar. Well, the Russians are putting up buildings all over the town, including this one. Fuck! Ass! And they're not letting me renew my lease.